Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Just wanted to do a quick video on this topic of inflation versus deflation and which way we're headed. So this is a highly debated topic. There are a lot of people that are in the inflation camp, and there are a lot of people that are in the deflation camp. I'm more of we're gonna get both, but let's start with the inflation camp, folks. So if you're a part of the inflation camp, you're pretty much like, hey, look at food prices, look at gas, look at housing, look at rents, home prices, um, look at copper prices, look at commodities, look at different asset prices, stocks, Bitcoin, things like that, and everything is going up. I mean, when the Fed and the fiscal authorities are printing $3-4 trillion worth of U.S. dollars, it gotta go somewhere. So if you're in the inflation camp, you're seeing rising prices in all those different areas I just mentioned, and you're more likely thinking more of it is coming because right now the economy is still struggling, and likely all roads lead to more money printing. So we're more likely to expect more of the same commodities, stocks, real estate, food, gas prices, things like that to continue going up. Now, if you're in the deflation camp, you're more so looking at, hey, you're looking at massive job losses. You got 10 million plus folks out of work. What does that mean for wages? You have a lot of people that have lost a significant amount of their wages, or a lot of business closures, or people taking pay cuts, or not getting any wage increases. So that's going to affect the economy because people don't have as much disposable income to spend on other goods and services. So when you have that multiplied by 10 million plus people, it's gonna be, you're headed towards a deflationary spiral. So if you're in the deflation camp, you're looking at those numbers. You're looking at um, labor force participation rate. You're looking at that going down. Um, Things like that. You're looking at the small business closures and things like that. Money velocity, which surprisingly has ticked up a little bit, but you're looking at that as well. So if you're looking at those, if you're looking at that kind of data, you're probably more so in a deflationary camp. Now, I'm gonna give you the counter argument to the folks that are in the inflation camp. The counter argument would be basically the same thing that the folks in the deflation camp would say. Like, hey, you can't have inflation forever because right now you have, okay, governments are basically doing the forbearance on mortgages. So we don't really know how bad the housing crisis is. Um, Governments aren't always going to do stimulus checks forever unless we're going to go down a full modern monetary theory type of setup. So eventually, all of this is going to have to unwind, and it's going to unwind in a deflationary spiral. Um, so that's going to be the counter argument to folks that are in the inflation camp. And now, folks that are in the deflation camp, you basically get the same counter argument as the folks that support inflation. They're going to say, hey, you know, I'm not going by what, the Fed says in CPI or whatever, right? Where they exclude food, energy, housing, pretty much everything you need to survive is not counted in the Fed CPI data. So if you're in the deflation camp, the folks that have a counter argument are going to say, hey, you are in the deflation camp, but every time I walk out, it costs me more to eat. It costs me more to get to work. It costs me it costs me more to buy shares of stock. Um, you know, Housing costs more, things like that. So how can we be in a deflationary cycle when everything around me is inflating? So, so that's pretty much going to be the counter argument to the folks that are in the inflation camp. Now, I mean that are in the deflation camp. Now, what I think is going to happen, I think more so we're gonna get both. Right now, right when the virus hit and the market crashed in March, we started seeing a massive deflationary cycle where, everything was liquidating and things like that. But when the Fed and the fiscal authorities came in and pumped trillions of dollars in there, um, we started inflating back the bubble that we were in and to bigger bubbles now. So I think eventually we're headed towards more of an inflationary cycle and then eventually a deflationary cycle. Because eventually all of this has to unwind unless, again, the big thing is unless we move into this whole modern monetary theory where it's just, hey, every month the government is going to send you 2K checks to everyone under a certain income or something along those lines. Now, if that's the case, then that's going to be wildly inflationary because you're injecting money directly into the economy. It's no longer like the Fed doing QE, where they're basically propping up financial assets. This, you're actually injecting money into the real economy and people are spending it. So, I mean, the debate's still out there, but I feel like we're in an inflationary cycle, but then eventually going to go head into a deflationary cycle unless we continue this nonstop money printing, but even that has a shelf life of its own. It's going to be eventually all this money printing. People are eventually going to lose trust in that currency, and who knows what's going to happen. Likely move to some other maybe asset-backed currency. But for me, I feel like that's very unlikely. I think we're in this fiat world to stay. But yeah, the inflation deflation debate is, I mean, it could go either way, but I feel like you're gonna get both. But it's gonna be in different phases. So we might not get deflation all at once, or we might not get inflation all at once. It might happen during our different times. So for yourself, the way you wanna play it, you wanna play it on both sides, where you have, assets like stocks, real estate, gold, Bitcoin, just in case, we're in that inflationary cycle. But then also have a lot of cash on the sideline just in case we get that vow of deflation. And if we get that deflationary cycle, your dollars are worth more and yeah, you can buy assets for on the cheap. So you want to play it on both sides because you never know what the outcome is going to be, and you never know how far the Fed and the fiscal authorities are going to go. So that's just my take on it. I would like to hear what you guys think, where we're headed, if we're going to be in a more of an inflationary cycle, deflationary cycle, or if you feel we're going to get both. Comment down below, and thanks for listening. See ya.